Good morning. Nice to end yesterday on a winning note with Atletico Bilbao. A niggly match, 2.3 the favourite, normally has me running for the hills, but they've got an extremely good reputation for goals. But this was the weekend for cock-ups from the Champions League, Europa League sides. Fresh from playing on Wednesday, Thursday. Uh, that just didn't translate to any solid performances this weekend from these big guns. Sporting Lisbon, the latest of the crew to cock it up, but insurance coming to the rescue there. Ulm and Greuther Fürth laying the late draw there, newly promoted, could be vulnerable, keep your liability low. This is a new technique of mine, which I hope you employed in the Norwegian Elite Serien, which we'll get to. I made some good calls there, but I couldn't verbalise them to you because I was out watching the footy with my brother, watching Man City play like a Sunday League pub side, where three of the players are still out on the old hit and miss, and the goalkeeper is vomiting behind the goal line. That's pretty much sums up Man City yesterday. Twente, great call. In-play stats. 12 minutes in at 0-0. FC Twente are starting to hit the 100-plus attacking pressure index. The only value I could find in a day or in a weekend where we're seeking to keep our liability low because of all these underperformances. Leipzig getting absolutely tonked, Feyenoord failing to score that second goal, Paris Saint-Germain failing to score that second goal, Feyenoord failing to score that second goal. So Twente, let's keep our liability low while still having an interest. 12 minutes in, I thought it was extremely good value, laying under 2.5 goals at 1.1. And wouldn't you know it, typical of a side involved in Europe midweek, go ahead Eagles, of course take a 0-2 lead. That's what I was insuring against, these shock results which just keep turning up. So we were looking for a Twente response before half-time, and thankfully they provided it to bring that 10-1 return in. And of course, those of you in the Wide Awake Club would have been all over, I hope, all over Go Ahead Eagles, 2-1 down, 2-1 up as the second half begun. Twente went on and won comfortably. I was very surprised in the live stream that I didn't follow this up secondary by taking on Go Ahead Eagles, even 2-0 up, because I was already involved there. Atletico Bilbao ended the day very nicely indeed. Perfect, really. After a torrid Saturday where teams just quite simply didn't turn up. So let's have a look at today. Well, have a look at some more of yesterday. Work our way through. Over 2.5 goals. It hasn't saved here, alas. Am I using Google Chrome? I'm not sure. If I'm using Google Chrome, we might have yesterday's over 2.5 goal list nicely in here. So we can just have a stroll through, see how accurate or otherwise the over 2.5 goal list, and look at this, goals galore. What I'm looking for is a minimum of 2 goals, aren't I? Manchester United. This, for me, is impressive because Everton normally park the toffee in front of goal. Big block of toffee. Stick that in front of goal and off we go. And new manager getting Marcus Rashford scoring again. Now, that is an extremely good sign for Manchester United because they're normally having to rely on Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund as well, but Xerxes coming up with goals as well. So the goals are being spread. It's an extremely impressive start for the new manager. It's the new manager bump. I don't know if this will continue. Rasmus Højlund scoring as well. So he's unlocking these centre forwards, but we're still conceding too many goals. If you're conceding against the likes of Ipswich and Bodo Glimt, that still might present some problems moving forward. Marcus Rashford scoring again under the new manager. A real pattern. Just something to look at. Tottenham and Fulham. Well, you could have arguably taken Tottenham on 1-0 up, but as you know, London derbies or any kind of derbies I've treated very, very cautiously. We did lay Chelsea, I think, 2-0 up, just in case Aston Villa thought they'd turn up. But Aston Villa are away from home recently and nowhere near the 2-goal standard that Emery has put upon them earlier on in the season. They're another one of those sides like Manchester City who just can't cope with this newfound Champions League. It's messed up these sides' chances of a title push. It's just too much. Too many high-profile matches too early in the season. It's not the wisest move to start getting these massive, massive Champions League matches so early. Look at this. The wheels are falling off now. Look. So, where's that second goal away from home? Oh, there it is. Look. And there, and there, and there, and there, and there. Suddenly, like Manchester City, something has gone wrong. And it's all down to this newfangled Champions League. Liverpool, Man City, well, I was watching that with my brother, and it was an embarrassment, really. It's like watching my old Sunday League pub side. In fact, they would have been more entertaining than Man City, to be honest with you. So over 2.5 goals, looking good. It's all dependent. If you're not looking for 3+ goals, you're looking for bang. 0-0 at half time in an overs match, back over 1.5 goals. Just look for a single goal, cash out. That's my simplest route to overs success. You're not waiting for 3 goals to be scored. You're waiting for 1 goal to be scored before the 70th minute. Surely that's not too much to ask. In a match, we had shortlisted for overs already. Look at this. Bang. Another Champions League side cocking up a lead. Oh dear. Well, not so with these two, although both of them involved in Europe. But again, neutral, neutral, neutral. Toulouse and Auxerre, when was the first goal scored in this overs match? 32nd minute. So I had a list yesterday. Let's see if we can find it. Of goals before half time. Was the Lille-Nice match on that list? Let's see. Goals before half time. First half goals. Well, it wasn't a very successful list yesterday, but what this list can also suggest to you, if it is 0-0 at half time, we're expecting first half goals. Back over 1.5 goals, eh? Bang. Simple as that. So quite a few of these. This is what I'm talking about, Montpellier, Lille. Lyon and Nice, both teams often feature early goals. So in this regard, you head off into the first half. Wait for 15 minutes. Hopefully there's no goal scored. Back over 2.5 goals. Well, not so. Lacazette not reading the script. Take him out the equation and would have been up and running. But we're on the right lines, aren't we? Consistent set of goals. Did we get Toulouse's match? Yeah, an early goal is likely. Let's 32nd minute. So you're back over 2.5 goals after 15 minutes in these shortlisted matches. Now, it wouldn't have come in with Rangers and it wouldn't have come in with the London derby either, but I wouldn't have played the London derby because it's a derby. Form lines are to be ignored. Great result for Marseille in the Côte d'Azur derby against Monaco. The home fans will be absolutely ecstatic about that. Yet again, if this was on our first half goals list, it wasn't. But if it was, that would have been your angle in. My preferred option is to wait for a 0-0 at half time. Back over 1.5 goals. So you need the patience to wait for that 0-0 at half time. In an over 2.5 goal match. Mainz failed to score 3 goals. They'll be a bit shocked. They are full of goals. Watch out for them in the future. Hoff, well, Hoff are the Hoff. You can score 4 goals against Leipzig and then fail to score in 2 consecutive matches. But another post-European headache for the Hoff. This is the trouble I had this weekend. The prior weekend, no trouble at all. Parma and Lazio, disappointment. In the live stream, I chose the wrong match. I should have chosen Twente's match. I was seduced by Lazio, as I was seduced by Atletico Bilbao's promise for goals. We did get that 2-1, but then it became a 3-1. What I did at this 2-1, I showed you over, when you go Lazio +1, and it goes to 2-0 for the opponent, and you get a 2-1. You you can get out. In this case, I had something like a £50 liability. I could have got out with a 17-17 red screen. Sometimes taking that kind of a small hit is well worth it, particularly, as you know, and I bet Lazio involved in Europe midweek. Bang. Failing to score against Ludogorets as well. Should have signalled some possible fatigue issues. They're just not getting a break, are they? It's 3 days. No wonder they're falling apart, and it's not good news for us traders. Fiorentina and Inter was abandoned. I think Inter did take the lead. Hopefully it was abandoned for weather issues and not our player collapsed. So, oh dear. I hope that player is okay. Oh dear. Bove. Well, let's just see if he's okay. Probably, if it says horrific injury, I don't think I want to watch this one. Epileptic fit. Oh dear. Oh dear. Wow. Well, best of luck to him. So we might not see Fiorentina maybe for the next couple of matches. AZ Alkmaar and Heracles. This was one of those you could back to over 1.5 goals second half, but as ever, it's just Europa League action 3 days before. Can we trust this lot to turn up? Well, if it's on our over 2.5 goal list, if it's 0-0 at half time, back over 1.5 goals. But where's the goal? This would have been a loser, wouldn't it? You could have laid the late draw. But this is the problem. Blowing hot and cold, these European sides. Are they turning up or aren't they turning up? This was certainly not going to be over 2.5 goals. It's on the list, but you're not going to be backing over 2.5 goals. You're not going to be looking for first half goals. This lot is basically a snore fest. They're trying to nick a 1-0. They've got the Italian version of Tony Pulis. And talking of Tony Pulis, Antonio Conte has got this lot purring and defensively solid. So well done to Scott McTominay, the goal merchant for Scotland, and now for Napoli. Man United should have kept him, got rid of Casemiro. It's just bewildering how you sign a bloke whose best years were with Real Madrid many moons ago. Strange world we live in. Real Madrid, Getafe again, trust issues with Real. The 1.3 favourites have been dropping down like flies, so I didn't get involved. Real Sociedad, well, I was out with my brother by then. It looked as if this went the way of expectation. 1.67 home favourite, but requiring an own goal and a penalty. So no wonder Pellegrini got yellow carded. A tad disappointing, that one. Austrian Bundesliga, again, guess what? Absolutely bossed this match. As is the story of the weekend, but couldn't cross the line. Bang. Conference League, just putting the kibosh on what was a solid statistical performance from Rapid Vienna. Look at all the red on the left. 10 goal attempts second half. This is typical of a post-European hangover that I was having trouble solving. Every single side pretty much showed well in the in-play stats, but just didn't deliver the goal. Yet another one to add to the collection. Slavia Prague and Slovan Liberec. When did the goal get scored for this overs match? 40th minute. Are they on the first half list? No, they're not. Probably not going to be trusting a Czech side after Europa League again against Fenerbahce. So typical, isn't it? They're just crossing the line. They can't score that second goal after only 3-day break. Obi Odenza, take him to the bank, boy. Over 2.5 goals all day long. FA Cup, I wouldn't have played overs in this one, but it looked as if very entertaining. I wouldn't have played overs in the Greek Super League either, even though it's on the list, because Olympiacos, as you well know, involved in the Europa League. Can we trust them? Limping over the line yesterday with 0-2, comfortable enough, but I wouldn't have played. Overs again in the right league. First goal, 2nd minute, so wasn't an overs match. This Norwegian Elite Serie, and I gave you a couple of calls yesterday. I'm sorry I couldn't share them with you, but I was watching the footy. We were looking at Bodo Glimt ending that draw, or even coming from behind. I hope you spotted that yourself. They had to win. If you were following the live standings, as I recommend you do in the last day of the season, you will see why I focused on a Molde equaliser. 1 point would take them to 53. This lot were winning 4-0. But look at the goal difference. 1 point. Molde had to score a goal and they would be in Europe. Viking and Brann, vitally important, I think, that Brann equalise. Or did I get it the wrong way around? Yeah, vitally important that Brann equalise. And indeed it came. Fidel Castro with a penalty. Fantastic stuff there. I called that one as well. I hope you took action. Rosenberg, far too efficient. Had to win, did win. Molde had to draw, didn't draw. But we laid that very, very late on. This is one of these matches you lay strong Godset at 1.09 and 1.06 because you know this lot are going until the 90th plus minute. Looked like they're making massive changes second half. I wonder if they fielded a weakened side in the first half, hoping that other results would go their way. That looks like a managerial error. Benfica, job done. La Liga Portugal, exactly what you expect, 1.2 shot, but requiring an own goal. And guess what? Probably involved in the Champions League. There we go. So just crossing the line, not emphatic. Rangers again involved in Europe against Nice midweek. Excellent performance against Nice midweek. Quite a simple lay the draw second half here. That got the ball rolling yesterday. That's typical of a post-European performance, isn't it? They bossed the in-play stats, couldn't get an opening goal. That was a story, wasn't it? So many of these European sides struggling to score or struggling to score that second goal. So from an overs perspective, it's 0-0 at half time, isn't it? So this was only the second qualifier. This timing of this goal would have got us a profit before the 70th minute. So we only had 2 over 1.5 goals yesterday, the second half. That was all the way back up here. I can't remember which one that was. Tottenham was the first qualifier, and that was the second qualifier. Rangers. Galatasaray and Ayopspor, Turkish Yorkshiremen, delighted to get out of that with a 2-2. They actually led in this one, and I think they were gettable, particularly if you followed the in-play stats. You'd have arguably laid the draw second half as well. Victor Osimhen, don't forget, this is the bloke from Napoli, the bloke everyone is after. How on earth Galatasaray nabbed him? I suggest a few bags of gold in front of him. Market value 77 million. What's he doing in Turkey? Interesting. He'll have his pick of clubs. Looking on to today, day off today, but if I'm at home and it's a little cold, I'm staying at home and doing a little bit of trading. Let's have a look at today's football. Sevilla and Osasuna. Please check, because the only way these teams are going to underperform is if they played in Europe midweek. Not so for Sevilla, it seems, or for Osasuna. So there's no excuses here for Sevilla. They should play to their form. That's what we're hoping for. What are the conclusions here? Well, 4 wins in the last 5 league matches, all by 1-goal margins for Sevilla. So they're only just crossing the line, aren't they? So watch out for that. 86% of Osuna's matches this season have seen a first half goal. That's something you might want to factor in. It's not an over 2.5 goal match, I don't think. A tight affair seems likely, but with both teams prone to conceding, this is possible. It's not over emphatic, isn't it, for overs? Strong potential for a first half goal. You might want to play on that this evening. And I might be around to be able to check out these matches. Roma Atalanta is on the verge of being what I call a derby style match. Okay, they can be very, very unpredictable. Over 2.5 goals likely given Atalanta's attacking form and Roma's defensive vulnerabilities. A first half goal highly likely, Atalanta's tendency to start fast. Well, you can confirm that yourself. If you're looking for first half goals in over 2.5 goal matches, head off to Soccer Stats and you'll have to put up with the adverts. Well, not the case here. But let's go through the match. This is the ideal way of researching at this stage of the season. We've got so many matches under our belts, but as ever, we've still got that European negative element to factor in. So looking at this, Roma are having a woeful run at the moment. 5 defeats in the last 6. Awful stuff. Can't buy a draw at home. Loss, win, win. Loss, win, loss. Looking awful. Atalanta now have clicked into gear, haven't they, since the 5th of October. That momentum could see them free and clear today. Both teams have scored in the last 2 matches. They've only failed to score once, Atalanta, so if Roma do score, Roma could be gettable here today. That second goal looks a little bit tough to come to, and the only match they've scored 2 consecutive goals was against Udinese. So we might have an angle if Roma score first, but don't forget this is a derby style match. They only lost 1-0 to Napoli recently, Romelu Lukaku, suggesting they might be more competitive against the big guns. And 0-0 against Juventus, backing that up as well. Working our way down, challenge table will reveal all. Atalanta have scored in the last 10, scored 2+ goals in the last 7, purring, but not reflected in the market today. 15th against 2nd, delighted to be back up and about them, Atalanta. Similar story with Napoli under Antonio Conte, purring. Against 15th and lower, 2, 2, 2, 6, 4, 5. You're expecting goals, aren't you, from an Atalanta not affected, hopefully, by European action. Roma, well, it looks obvious, doesn't it? Against the top 3, it's a very, very tight competitive affair. So that's probably why it's 2.3 the favourite. 1-0 defeats. So we're going to see defence, the attack. They're going to be eyeing 2+ goals. They look adept at keeping the big guns quiet. So that's probably why that's 2.3 the favourite, and Atalanta are not more rock solid today. Just those 1-0s. Eibar and Cartagena. Eibar, I think, newly relegated, so could be dominant. And we've got the luxury of being able to just stroll through this one. I don't want to have a video longer than Scorsese's The Irishman. 23 minutes in already, so I'll wrap this up very soon. And let's have a look. So tomorrow, 7:45, I will be doing an evening session for you. Wednesday, I think I'm out with some old college friends I met yesterday. Haven't seen him for 25 years. So looking forward to that. So some of the Tuesdays and Mondays as well, if I've not got any engagements, I'll be trading. There's no point not doing it if it's in front of me. I've got nothing else to do. Eibar looking a whole heap of trouble. Cartagena looking a whole heap of trouble. Why are Eibar 1.5? Probably because they've had 3 wins in the last 4, but they require clean sheets, don't they, for all of their wins at home. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of those wins have been 1-0 only. 1.5, you're having a giraffe, mate. No draw in 10. Plays no draw in 8 away. Might want to the late draw. Moving down, 14th against 22nd. This should seal Cartagena's fate. But 1-0, of course, your whole 1-0 plan is up in smoke if the opponent concedes. But looking at Cartagena, I think a 1-0 is best case for them. Not the best match in the world to trust a 1-0 side, a 1.5 side who can only win 1-0. Highly probable, of course, under 2.5 goals. That's rather obvious. Guimaraes, I've been really impressed with Guimaraes in Portugal. They've got goals they've got goals. Let's have a look at this one. They've impressed in Europe, they've impressed domestically. When they're short price, they tend to deliver. But please remember, they have been involved in Europe. Could turn into another Sunday League pub side like Manchester City. So just be careful. We could actually lend Man City our old striker, Windy Miller, Simon Miller. I met him the other day, used to play Sunday League with him. He is an absolute goal merchant in the Sunday Leagues. I could have a word with Pep. We could get Windy Miller to play for Pep. Let's put a small fee, you know. So if you're out there, Pep, I've got the solution to your goal problems, mate. Windy Miller scored a shed load back in '95 in the Sunday League. Guimaraes, only 2 defeats away, were 1-0. Only beaten by Porto at home. As I say, they've got a reputation for goals. 2-2, 2-2. So if they can hit those heights, particularly against Gil Vicente conceding 2+ goals in 4 wins in the last 5, then this is one I could trust. This is the feeling I got with Atletico Bilbao yesterday. So I would be expectant of Guimaraes here today. But don't forget they are post-Europe, which means they could turn into a Sunday League pub side. Porto and Casapia. Well, I've done old school research here because we didn't get any research at Soccer 24 and Soccer 24 and UK.Soccerway. So this is research based on soccerstats.com. 100% home wins, scoring 2+ goals. That's what you're expecting of a 1.18 shot today. 65% of goals scored have come second half. So just be careful. Normally with 1.18, we're expecting goals before half time. Watch out, Porto may have been involved in Europe. So these 1.25 shots, they look wonderful on paper. But dare I remind you, PSG couldn't manage that second goal. Feyenoord, Barcelona lost, couldn't manage that second goal. Porto fit into that category. Casapia, they look awful. Only 3 wins, 2 were 1-0. 4 score draws, score draw best case. Also, the fact that score drawing, suggesting if they score first, to take them on. Special one, and Fenerbahce, 1.25 home favourite. Again, post-Europe, so just be very careful with that. Over 2.5 goals, last 6 head-to-heads. Last 5 matches have seen 3+ goals, but that wasn't under the special one, was it? And it wasn't post-Europe. Another soccerstats.com bit of research here. 18th against 5th. Hatayspor are unbeaten in 2 with both teams scoring. Is that just a sign of comeback? Only played one of the top 11 at home, so playing 5th today. 3 out of 3 losses against the top 4, playing 5th today. Besiktas, not played the bottom 3, but only 1 loss away, came against Galatasaray. You'll be expecting a Bez today, but they are more vulnerable away from home. Draw, win, draw, loss, draw. That is of some concern to Besiktas supporters today. It's an interesting coupon. As I say, it is my day off, but if I'm at home, it's cold, I don't have any friends to meet, then I'll be up and around. We've got some other matches of interest as well. FC Copenhagen. I always like the Danish leagues, particularly from a neutral goals perspective. Premier League 2, again, an over 2.5 goal league, something up to 70%. Professional Development League, again, an overs league. So if you're around at 1 o'clock, check out the goals as they arrive in this league. Outstanding record so far, 74% overs. That's about it. Israeli Liga Ha'al, Maccabi Tel Aviv. Excellent in Europe. Really good defensive side, but don't forget that European concern again. Have a great day. I might see you on Telegram. If I am up and about, I'll pop on Telegram. If not, see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.